Hey guys, little thing I'm gonna say right here is in this series of Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, I mentioned heaps that I don't like splitting up investigation trials, but I've realized that Trials and Tribulations may be longer than the original two in their length. So if a trial or investigation exceeds, say, about an hour and a half, I will be splitting them into two episodes because I see that as a bit too much of time for one episode. Now, an hour 20 minutes, I think that's still okay. I'm still cautious about that, but if I were to split that up, it would be, I don't know. I would have to find a time. Have to find somewhere in the middle of the video to split it up where there isn't a major thing happening. Usually if I split up videos in this series, I will be splitting up to when I'm moving between places. Like if I'm going from the detention center to the police department, for example. If I'm going there and there's no talk going on that's important, I will split it up. But otherwise, if it doesn't exceed an hour and 20 or even an hour, I will keep it in. Which means the episode you're about to watch, I actually do split this into two episodes, but it goes for a whole 2 hours. I was a little worried at first, but I'm like, 2 hours is really a long time, and I don't want my viewers getting too bored. So, just letting you know that's a disclaimer, and let's get into the series. Hello and welcome to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. This is the third one in the main three, as far as I know. I was reading up the top in order from least to best cases of Ace Attorney, and they were basically saying they call this the main three. And that's exactly what gave me the thought. I'll do the first three and then I'll take a few months break because there's a lot of reading in this. And since I don't like splitting up investigations and trials into separate episodes for each of them, I prefer putting one investigation, one trial. Now I used to do one trial with an investigation, but that was because Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney 1 was shorter. But basically, what do you call it? I'm gonna be doing these ones, and I'm gonna be moving to Apollo Justice after a few months. I'm not sure what's after Apollo Justice. I think it's Dual Destinies. I'm not sure if there's a certain order after number 4. But either way, this is Trials and Tribulations. This is supposedly the third one in the series, and most likely it's going to be one of the more heated up ones. I know what happened. Well, I mean, I don't know all the details about it, but I do know who you play as in the first trial, and that's really piquing my interest right now. So, just a little recap. Let's just go through what's happened so far in the other two games. If you want to skip this, just skip ahead if you want. Move your mouse in the lower part and see when the screen actually changes. But otherwise, in the first game, Phoenix Wright became an attorney, and the first case was all about this girl who got killed. I thought it was on a boat, but no, it was just in her apartment. And it was this guy who stalked people, and he was trying to take something, I think it was, and she came in, so he ended up killing her with the Thinker statue, and he blamed it on whatever his name is, the Butts, Lenny or something. I don't know. The second case was Mia's death, which was actually about this guy who kept on calling himself all this fabulous stuff, and he was in charge of a big company that blackmailed people, but he ended up going away as well. Maya almost got arrested for that. Third case was the Steel Samurai one, and it was all about this guy who was blackmailed because he accidentally killed someone, and the producer blackmailed him because of that, and then got him killed because, well, she just wanted to. I don't really know why he was killed, to be honest. I think it was to ruin Willpower's Willpower's reputation. The fourth one was a very heated up one, Miles Edgeworth. How this guy tried blaming Miles Edgeworth by killing someone ahead of time, and then making Miles Edgeworth come out to a boat because the guy he killed had already asked Miles Edgeworth to come out, and so he dressed up as that guy, came onto the boat, and then pretended to shoot himself, fall back into the water so Miles Edgeworth thought he was dead, and since it was so dark, he didn't realize he was swimming out to shore. And Miles picked up the gun, making the handprints on his gun, which I do admit was pretty stupid. He should not have done that. And it's just like it's just like in the last case, just for when the girl made the drink. But I can understand that she thought he'd fainted. Um, but that went into a whole past thing. That literally went into a whole past of Von Karma actually of killing Miles Edgeworth's dad by shooting through an elevator. And I'm like, holy shit. Wait, was that? Yeah, that was the right one. Yeah, I'm thinking of the right one. Never mind. The next one was a side one, made only for the DS. If you played the original game on Game Boy, you wouldn't have done this. I think it was on Game Boy at least. It involved touching the screen and everything, and that's what Apollo Justice is all about. That's why I'm very hesitant about playing Apollo Justice, because I've got a DS emulator. I can use the touchscreen side and the mic side as long as I got the stuff right, but you'll be seeing my mouse, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Um, but it was all about this guy who died in two different places, and it turns out he was, what do you call it? It turns out that in one place, he'd actually got killed in the evidence room and was driven, or at least undercoverly driven, because they called Miles Edgeworth over to pick up a stupid evidence thing, only to use his car as a dead body thing. So then the body was found in his car. But at the same time his body was discovered, or supposedly he was killed there, which he wasn't, someone dressed up as him, the guy who died, and used his ID because that ID had gone missing and the guy had found it. What was his name again? Jack or something? It was a cowboy. He was my favorite character in that whole thing. He tried finding evidence, and it seems that the guy, the officer person, forgot his name, had been knocked out, but he thought he killed him. But he didn't actually, and that's why they thought there were two murders in two different places. But they weren't. There was only one murder, and the other one was just someone pretending. And that went into a whole past thing again about evidence being hidden about about Emma. That's it, about Emma. And it was all about she nearly died by this serial killer who I think had been hired by Gant. I keep on saying Gantz because that's a very cool anime. Definitely recommend it. Not sponsored. Um, if I remember right, I haven't done that case in a while, but it was my favorite case. Um, Gant, Gant had blackmailed. Oh no 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 no! It was because Emma had gone so scared she thought she'd actually shot someone, and they thought she killed him. Even Gant thought that, and he used that details to blackmail Emma's sister or mother or whatever it is. And since the mother slash sister, whatever her name is, Emma's sibling, thought this was true, and Gant thought it was true as well, which turned out it wasn't. She'd actually, um, she'd actually shot the person, but he hadn't died from it. Oh wait, what? Oh no no no, she hadn't shot him. She'd hit him. But the thing is, they'd gotten a piece of scrap off his shirt, but the scrap was no blood on it. But yet his body, they'd taken a photo of it, and the body was stabbed into a sore where they thought Emma pushed her. But the bit where the scrap was torn off, there was clearly blood there. So that proved that Emma had actually knocked him onto the ground. Gant had ripped it off, put him onto the sword to pretend Emma put it on there, but hadn't realized that the bit he scrapped off didn't have any blood on it. So it proved that Emma didn't actually kill him. And that proved that someone hasn't moved him, and that the piece of scrap that was on his body had been in Gant's safe, which proved that Gant's was connected. So yeah, that was a whole weird thing. Then there's Justice for All, which is completely more annoying. Wouldn't say it's the best game. I actually do agree with people when I say it's the worst game. It's just not that bad. It's just not as... It's not Ace Attorney 1, like... the first case was just a tutorial, very stupid. Phoenix Wright lost his memory thanks to a fire extinguisher to the face. Thanks to a guy who wanted his phone back because he killed a police officer because he thought the police officer was going to ask him questions about the details in his phone. That was basically all that's the case in a nutshell. Um, the second one was Maya was trying to do a channeling for this guy to try to make someone who supposedly killed these hospital people due to being overworked by the guy, was going to channel her, and then the guy ended up dying. But it turns out it was actually that's the difficult part to explain. The person who killed all the survivors, she supposedly died in a car crash, but it was actually her sister, and so to hide her identity and try to make a new life for herself in her sister's feet, she got a face surgery, and made it look like her sister. And she helped Pearls, which was a girl you just met who's also a channeler, but much better than Maya, but yet younger. Her mother had helped the sister, Mimi, or Innie as you call her for half the game, and then Mimi when you find out, to kill the guy and make it look like Maya did it. And the reason behind that was so if Maya was arrested, Pearl would become the next successor. The bit that I'm confused about, and I'm hoping it's explained in this one, the mother at the end of the court said, "Your time will come." So maybe in Trials and Tribulations something happens to Maya again. I'm wondering if that will happen. The third one was not that exciting. I had really cliche characters, but I liked it because it was just different. I liked it for that reason. It was the circus one where when you think about it, it's actually very simple. It started off 6 months ago where it turns out this boy was in love with Regina. Bat, that's it. And he pranked Regina by putting pepper on her, which made her sneeze. And so the present she was going to give Bat, she poured pepper all over it, making him sneeze. But she didn't realize he was going to try to ask her out by saying, if I can put my mouth in the lion's head like you do and not get bitten, then take me out to the movies. And she agreed, and he put his head under the lion with the scarf around him, and the lion sneezed, making a bite down on Bat accidentally, putting him into a coma. And Acro tried stopping the lion, getting the mouth open, ended up getting his leg hurt because of it, because of the pepper. And so Acro, 6 months later, got a note saying, "Dear murderer, meet me in this place." And when he said murderer, he meant Regina, because Regina had put the pepper on him. And that was the reason he believed she was the murderer. But it was actually, Regina got the note of him because she takes Acro's rubbish out. But she didn't know it was for him, so she put it onto a notice board. And the ringmaster saw it and knew what was going on, walked out there and noticed the chest, and since the chest was so heavy, he had to bend over. And since Acro couldn't see who was out there because he was in a wheelchair and he couldn't see over, or else he would have fallen out the window, he got what do you call it? What's his name? Max? Yeah, Maximilian. He got Maximilian's bust, the giant statue of his face, to fall down with a rope, hitting him. And this is the most stupid part. The hit made him hit the chest so hard that the coat just burst up like it wasn't done up properly, and got locked onto the cards of the boss, which is understandable. If the body falls down at a certain speed, it can make anything else that's not connected properly go up. But come on. I am someone who writes stories in a what-if situation. Like, some stupid stuff could happen, but in the end I'm thinking, what if this would happen? But that, oh my god. It just makes me laugh. And they end up finding this out because Acro is the only one who could have stolen the bust, because the monkey stole the bust. But either way, nothing else about that. The fourth one, which was the last one, that was... Oh yeah, that was the Hero of Heroes. Where it turns out your defendant is actually evil. And Matt Engard, who plays the Nickel Samurai, actually hired an assassin, made him kill someone, but put a security camera in there and blackmailed him. And the reason you're able to stop him, because the assassin had kidnapped Maya, is because you proved to the assassin that the videotape he has in his hands, that Matt told him to keep safe, was actually footage of him killing the person he was going to use to blackmail him. And due to the fact that he'd actually became a traitor to the assassin, he destroyed the tape, let Maya go, and made Matt his new target. I ended up pleading him guilty because he deserved it, which means Phoenix did lose a case. But who cares? Anyway, that was 12 minutes. Well, I'm sorry. I just thought I'd go through everything that's happened so far before I continue. So yeah, let's get into the new game. Turnabout Memories. Due to the name, yes, this goes into the past. How did I get into this mess? Why? Why did I do that? Oh, this tune's cool. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk to her about like that. Oh! It wasn't me. I didn't do it. What the Phoenix! I didn't do it! Phoenix, what the fuck? 5 years earlier, Maya Fey, second trial. Yeah, this is Mia we're playing as. Wait, does that mean that cutscene was 5 years earlier, or is Mia fighting for my innocence? That's what I'm thinking right now. Whew, it's finally time. I'm kinda nervous. Oh, Grossberg. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're gonna get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior. What are you talking about? I'm relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me, I'm relaxed. Let go of my labels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. I'm sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I, Marvin Grossberg, am at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcibly, too. I just found out yesterday about this case, I mean. What? And you've already learned all the relevant facts? Well, about that, you see, of course I have. I think... Oh, dear. In any case, don't let our client see you're so nervous. You see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client. It's me! It's me! Good morning there, everybody! Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just wanted to say, I give it all I've got. Yeah, it'll be fine, no prob. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something? Actually, it's right. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. Ah yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else, so be kind to others, he says. Right, Mr. Wright, you have nothing to say. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please, let go of my shirt. That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong with your client, Mia. My name is Maya Fey. I'm still pretty new at the lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. But the trial traumatized me so badly I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then. Well, here I am again. But this time I'll win. For my client and for myself. You do it, Mia! I believe in you! My headphones are like stuffing up right now. I'm sorry. Oh god, Mr. Payne. He's always the tutorial boss. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mia! The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense today is Miss Maya Fey, was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was be leading the offense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency. Emergency? But isn't that him standing there right next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie, aren't you? Are you sure you can really handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Oh yes, the hands on the table. Of course, Your Honor, I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Well. I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It'll all be over soon. What was all that about? Was he trying to trash talk me? Yes. Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day of question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. It sounds like he was a very young, bright man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body, and the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. Then they called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. I've already got the autopsy report, that's good. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Your reputation for sagacity is very well earned, Your Honor. The truth is that the victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. A simple question, I thought. I might loosen you up a bit. I am a gentle man, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Maya. Show him what you're made of. Ah, perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause. Go on. I think it was electrocution. Please, say you know at least this much. I'm so sorry, I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. My hormones are beginning to act up. Now see here, the details of the case are filed onto the court record. But you know that already, didn't you? Ah, the court record. I think I can see that by touching the court record button. All of the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear. Yes, sir, I'll do just that. But stay calm, I can let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just touch the court record button right here. Now then, will the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? Yeah, that's right. According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? The wire, the electric cord was broken. Did the murder use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as the trial proceeds, Your Honor, or you can just take a proper look at the crime scene further. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Oopsies, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this. Really don't like this. The guy's smug attitude. That's Winston Payne for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it into the old greybeard's face. Yes, sir, into the old greybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are here as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim? Dahlia Hawthorne. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. I guess she just popped up because, well, you need her as an answer. Dahlia Hawthorne, is it? Very good, Miss Fey. You seem to have picked up on at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright, but up until about 8 months ago, she was the victim, Mr. Swaller. Clearly, she has some part. She was the victim's, Mr. Swaller. Clearly, she has some part to play in the story. Ah, he's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. Watch the defendant himself? Well, Miss Fey. It's fine, after all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Achoo! Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, yes. My name is Mr. Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now, I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what you did before you were arrested. Oh. I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you do understand that you are suspecting the death of the fellow student's dog But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. Telling who I was, I am a hero in the future. Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his call to the rest of us? Seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. What is wrong with him? Did he catch a cold because it was raining? The victim and I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to the stuck-up British wannabe. I see, so you hardly knew the victim. Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Whew, it looks like the judge understands. You're being naive, you know. Too naive. Huh? Seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be? The witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination. He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness' testimony contains any contradictions. Contradictions? If a witness is lying, the statements will conflict with the court record. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he's your client in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying the testimony just now there was a lie, a contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Mr. Fey. Miss Fey, I'm sorry. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. Oh god. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Would you, Phoenix? Would you? I can't say no to you. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I doubt that. You say you found the body, so who called the police? Huh? Fortunately, it was some other students that notified the police. Other students? That's correct. They were witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body in shock. What? Is this true, Mr. Wright? Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. So, you didn't know his face or even his name, right? Right. Well, no. That is, I mean... So, which is it? Did you know him or not? Oh my god. Now, see here, you can't avoid answering the questions by sneezing all day. Well, I guess I did know his name. Used to me. Why didn't he tell me that before? I heard he used it to date Dolly. Who is this Dolly person? Ah yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, I see. Ah, young love. So bittersweet. But that's all I knew about him. I never even talked to the stuck-up British wannabe. Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. Hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... That doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I'll give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean. Yes, that's right. Saw it at the crime scene. That's right. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true, cross my heart. Swear I didn't do it. He's acting fishier than the salmon I ate last night. May I ask you something, Miss Fey? Yes, Your Honor. What is it now? Who is this person anyway? The Union Jack fellow. The Union Jack is the name of the flag of England. Oh, I see. So you mean like stars and stripes, right? As usual, Your Honor. Your insight astounds me. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now? Mia, there is a contradiction here. Mr. Grossberg, quickly now, show that boy you mean business with evidence, I mean. Okay, Mia, check the cold record carefully. Well, my dear, do you think you can manage it on your own? I can handle it myself. 1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself. You mustn't try to bite off more than you can chew, Mia. I'll be fine. I know what I have to do. Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. When you're going to state a contradiction, make sure you present some definite proof. Definitive proof. Okay, Mia, one more time from the very beginning of the testimony. There's nothing on his back.
Objection!
No, objection! Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Fey, is there some point to this line of questioning? Your Honor, please take a look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing written on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute! He's wearing a leather jacket! Union Jack was on the back of his t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Achoo, achoo, achoo. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me! Achoo! Ah, please forgive me! Oh my god. Man, you've made our client cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyway. It stands for pussy. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the crime scene. Uh-oh, did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine? Yeah, I took some, but was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills good colds. Kills colds good. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Would you happen to have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does this even have something to do with the case? Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Your Honor, I'd like you to take another look at the crime scene photo. What is this? In the victim's hand? It's Cold Killer X! It's a new supervillain! Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belonged to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What? Sensing his murderer's intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so can only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright. Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record. Also, the victim's wristwatch is broken. What? Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all of this? This is really bad. Oh, my buttocks. My poor, poor hemorrhoids. What really happened? The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then around 300, we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him laying there. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's completely different than the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth. You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible. Miss Fey, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell me any more lies. Alright, it's the time, most likely. The truth is, I went because he asked me. Okay, let's look at this. Didn't time of death, 4/9 at 3 p.m. Because if death was fatal electric shock...
Objection!
Your Honor, what do you think of the witness's statement? I don't really see any problem with it. Actually, I don't either. Oh, come on! So you missed the mark on that one, okay. I know I went back and found him lying there.
Objection!
It should be. Found clutched in the victim's hands covered in rat's fingerprints. Well, Mia? I don't know. Can't seem to find any contradictions. The boy isn't exactly what is called a natural-born liar, you know. But still, we can't have him continue to spout nonsense. I know, but what can I do? Well, I'm certain he must still be hiding something. Information. Right now, it's information we need. Okay, let's just press him. Had you ever met the victim? No, never. But that day, he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly. And this Dolly person. It's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. Oof! What was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm sorry, I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Dog Swallow. Before she met Mr. Rat, that is. So it was one of those nasty love triangles. I see. He was in the pharmacology department, so we decided to meet at 3:45. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist? I see. I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Oh, how fascinating. Sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. I do. Maybe I should ask him for more details. Ask about the pharmacology department. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Okay, sure. I don't know all that much. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. At the time of the meeting. So you're absolutely certain that you met at 2:45? Yeah, pretty sure. That's the time class ends. But they're always doing experiments. Experiments? Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping up something. Well, it looks like he's right about the time anyway. Witness, let's get on with your testimony. So, what was it about? What was it you were talking about? You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that was true. Then later when I went back and found him laying there. So, you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up? Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. I've been taking cold Killer X. It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year. Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. Guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly. Just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Ouch! Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hitting someone. Yeah, Mia can't find love. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. Not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, you are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. Establish murder method. Yes, Miss Fey? I believe that if you were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate the arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I'd totally forgotten about that. Oh, come on, Mia. Now then, Miss Fey, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there is nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Fey, where exactly is the photo is the murder weapon? Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. I remember the testimony we've heard? The machine the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high voltage cable... Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Brain, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as the murder weapon was... the defendant. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? Do you mean the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take a look at the crime scene further. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. As you may know, the leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket, the palm print of the defendant's very own hands. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victims towards the severed electrical cable. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, we're done. Mr. Grossberg, my hemorrhoids never lie, the show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. At this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fey? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth, and everything but the truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Fey, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute, Mr. Wright. I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need for further... I did it. I admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault the dog swallow is dead. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes. I was afraid. Afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell you the whole truth. I'll be okay. It will be okay, won't it, Miss Fey? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. Still can't believe it. You really did push the victim. It feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. When I pushed the victim, that guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after that, I started getting worried, so I went back, but he was laying there, dead. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a little rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed. It's true, even a doofus like him could have missed that. Miss Fey, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. Sorry. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. When I pushed the victim. First of all, that guy, he was talking about Dolly. I'm gonna save just quickly. I didn't do this in the other two games. You can actually save in the middle of stuff. I keep on forgetting. And continue. Wait, does that mean it's a temporal save? Is it gone now? I'm not really sure. I was talking about bad about Holly. Okay, I need to go back to that one and just hold it. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a... something. Is that all? Yep. Well, Miss Fey, you heard him yourself. Oh, you're not doing yourself any favors. Please don't make this harder for me. Anyway, after he said that, I just... What did she say? At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. No. What did he say about Dolly? Bad girl, okay. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper. It flew into a furious frenzy. Sucker punch. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. And when you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen. Right, there was nothing like that at all. But is it possible that you merely overlooked it? Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over like you cheat, whatever. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony witness. At that moment I heard some kind of loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap. You know, came to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Ask for more details. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important, so try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Ah, could it have been... Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Fey, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well... Okay, let's check out this. Yeah, the umbrella was broken. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important, it's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. How perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you certainty of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing this sweater there. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time, knitting it for me. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. My stomach is not to be used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue with your testimony, witness. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. After you shoved the victim, did you leave the scene right away? Yes, I did. I admit it, I was furious. You left without even checking Mr. Swallow's condition. Well, yeah, but like I said, I got worried about him later. So I went back, but he was laying there, dead. At that time, did you see anyone else at the scene of the crime? Nope, nobody. Jeez, could that stupid cough possibly sound any pneumonia? In that case, it's very hard to believe someone else could have been the murderer. Unless you can find something that shows he's innocent from that testimony, my dear. I'm afraid the judge will make his final decision with no remorse. Right now I need more info. Info that will help me turn up some contradictions. Okay, I was talking bad about Dolly, lost my temper and gave him a shove. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. A little while after I left, I started to get worried, so I went back, but he was just there laying dead. Okay. Victim's watch stopped at the time of death. Found clutched in the victim's hands, covered in Wright's fingerprints. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at this crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, After he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. Oh yeah, Mia! Order! 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 The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? It was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want to present it as evidence immediately. But the umbrella could have simply been blown away by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No! However, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Phoenix's testimony. Well done, Mia. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess, you have another witness. Exactly. This witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is this witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Is she gonna be? Oh, she's gonna be the killer, isn't she? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right, she was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop. Our court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.